Good afternoon to all our viewers and welcome to another segment of Education on Air. I'm Tilini from Entrepreneur MD, and as promised in his earlier webinar, Naren Alurraja, founder and CEO of Equa Marketing and Entrepreneur MD, is here to educate you on local search, search engine optimization, and Google Places for accountants. If you have any questions for Naren, please press the Q&A bubble on your screen and post your questions. After Naren completes his presentation, I will forward the questions to him. Hi Naren, and welcome again to Education on Air. It's nice to have you once again, and it's over to you, Naren.
Thank you very much, Tilini, for this opportunity, and I'm glad to be back. I know we had our first webinar, which was an overview with regards to internet marketing. Today we are going to be talking about local search, search engine optimization, and Google Places for accountants. As a serial entrepreneur and the founder of both Equa and Entrepreneur.md, I'm really glad you are here with us, and I'm going to share as much as I can over the next hour or so about what we have learned in terms of online marketing and how you can get the most out of this. First, I want to recap what we discussed in our first presentation. The first point that I want to make, I think this is a fundamental and a paradigm shifting point. That is that in the old days, before the internet, before Google, people didn't have access to information, so selling worked. You know, ads like Yellow Pages, billboards, they worked perfectly because when people didn't have any information, let's say they were looking for an accountant, typically they would turn to the ad or they would ask somebody they know. So ads did work. It was a numbers game. You know, theory went that at any given time, 3% of the population is interested in a product or service. So if you advertise enough and if you have big enough budgets, you're going to get the numbers working for you. So typically in the old days, the person with the biggest budget won. Now that doesn't happen because now the consumer is in control. Now the consumer can research even a $10 meal before they go to that meal. They can read the reviews, they can watch the pictures of the restaurant and the dish itself. They could find out how far the restaurant is from them. They can look at all types of information in making that decision so that 30 minutes they're spending at having even a $10 meal, they can make sure they're getting the most out of it. So in this world, you as a business owner has to think about marketing differently. You have to think about how do I make it easy for people to buy from me as opposed to how do I sell to them? So from Google to Mercedes-Benz, everybody understands that. So they commissioned a research that came up with the concept of zero moment of truth, which is something I did touch on in my last presentation, but I want to spend a couple of minutes on because it's really important. The idea is that in the old days, before the internet, before Google, people couldn't do research. So really there were three types of moments of truth. The first being the first ad that exposed them to your brand. So I'm driving and I listen to an ad, or I see the Yellow Pages. The second being the very first interaction, could be a conversation with the receptionist at your office, could be a discussion with you at a meeting. So that first moment of truth, that first impression you created. And then came the sale, and then what happens after the sale, meaning they have decided to engage you, and how do you take care of them, how do you deal with them. So those were the things that people focused on from a marketing standpoint, that very first ad, that very first impression, and then what happens after the sale. Now internet changed all that, and so to conceptualize it and understand it, people came up with the terminology that said zero moment of truth. Now it's not a single moment, it's many moments. Research shows that on average people look at 10 to 15 data points, meaning different types of information before they get serious about a particular business and decide to make that phone call. It could be them just learning about the topic. So there's a new tax change or a law that was brought in by the, let's say the state or provincial or, the national government. Now they're just learning about that. Or it could be that, they are late and they are doing research on who can do taxes quickly for them. So whatever their concerns are, they are doing research, and your job is to show up. Because if you're not showing up as far as they're concerned, you don't exist. So the key in the zero moment of truth is number one, showing up, meaning when people are doing research on all these different topics, they find you again and again and again. Number two, when they find you, what they see convinces them that they should do business with you. Because by the time they're making a phone call, they know a lot about you. They probably have looked at your reviews, they have probably looked at testimonials from others, they have checked out your website, maybe even watched a couple of videos where you explain very complicated accounting topics in layman's terms, and they really like the way you do things. So your job is to, like I said, to show up during the zero moment of truth and to convince them that you are the right person. And a lot of things like reviews and testimonials and videos help in that process. We kind of touched on search engine optimization. We're going to go really deep into that today. We talked about how mobile had fundamentally changed the game when it comes to marketing and how people do things. And in the subsequent presentations, there are 3 more to come. We will talk about branding, and I'll spend more time on the subsequent presentations in one of my slides at the end. We'll talk about analytics, content marketing, automated marketing, social media. So for today, we're going to focus on search engine optimization and local reviews, such as Google Places. So the first point I want to make is the world fundamentally changed since 2007 when iPhone was introduced. And what happened is, for the very first time, people started carrying a computer with them 24 hours a day. They wake up with an alarm clock from their phone, and then they use it to remind themselves of their appointments for the day. Some people use it for email, texting, directions, music, you name it. So the idea of computer as a companion, as an assistant to help you live a more efficient and productive life is something that's now, something that a lot of people use. 90% of the people have a smartphone. So what that fundamentally did is, if you compare Google numbers, for example, in the year 2007, people used Google approximately 1 billion times a day. Today, they use Google approximately 6 billion times a day. I fundamentally believe it's because of what happened in 2007 and how smartphones, this very powerful computer that lives with you 24/7, became very popular. Now, this has implications, right? So search itself has changed, and I want to spend a bit of time talking about that. So let me kind of jump into what those 3 new trends are. The very first trend I want to talk about is location and NAP. NAP stands for name, address, phone number. It's not map, it's NAP. And fundamentally what that means is, now all computing devices, including computers like desktops and laptops, to mobile phones and tablets, have some way of knowing exactly where you are at any given moment. Many have GPS chips built into them. Some have, and all have Wi-Fi built into them. And again, Wi-Fi can locate where you are at a given time. So what that means is, now computers know a bit more about you. So anytime you do a search, based on your location, your results are going to change. Also, what happened is, as people started carrying these devices and as people started using computers more, they started asking more and more questions. One of the things that marketers have noticed is 9 out of 10 people who choose a local business read reviews. They look at reviews, not reviews on your website alone, but also reviews on third-party sites like Google Places, like Yelp, like CitySearch, and there are literally hundreds of them. So the idea is that if you have a lot of people who think you are great, you should be great. So as a marketer, you need to figure out, or as a business owner, you need to figure out, how do I manage my reputation online? So when people Google my name or my business name, I see a lot of 4 stars and 5 stars. Now, because reviews are such a vital part of the entire decision-making process that consumers go through, search engines have paid attention to that. So one of the strategies we focus on, and I'll get to that, is how do you manage your reviews, your profiles across multiple sites, and make sure NAP, name, address, and phone number, is consistent across all these sites. So that's something that we will touch on. The next thing that became very important is reviews itself. So what do you do when you have a negative review? How do you deal with it? I mean, my advice is, if it's not true, directly talk about it online, because a lot of times you might get competition or disgruntled employees saying nasty things. But do it in a professional manner. But the best medicine, I think, is offense, meaning try to get happy clients to write reviews about you. For example, if you have a profile on accountants.md, which reaches like 200,000 doctors, make sure you're getting your positive reviews posted on that. If you don't have one, get one. I really think it's really, really important for you to get reviews on third-party sites, and the more you have, the better off you will be. Also, pay attention to sites like Google, and again, I'm going to talk about how you can do that, in my subsequent slides. The third key trend is the idea that search is personalized. In the old days, if you typed in a search query, everybody will get the exact same results. Now that's not the case. Now 3 things determine search results. Number 1, your location. Like we said, all mobile devices and almost all computing devices have some way for the computer to know where you are at a given time. So search results are personalized based on location. The second thing that they look at when they personalize results is your search history. 2 to 3 years ago, Google started consolidating all its products with a single username and password. They called it Google+. So everybody, whether they're using Google Calendar or Google Search or YouTube, is encouraged, and many times significantly encouraged, to log in. And when they log in, they can track you. So they know what you did 3 minutes ago on your iPhone. They know what you did 2 hours ago on your computer. Now, if you had been to a certain website, don't be surprised if that website shows up in the search results, as long as the query you're typing in is related to that particular website. So your past history, your search history, will influence search results. The third thing that's influencing search results is the device itself. I mean, think about it, right? Reading an article on a small iPhone is really, really hard, but reading it on a big screen is convenient. So what Google will show you based on the screen will change. So if you're a smart marketer, you need to be aware of that, and also change your website to look awesome on a 3-inch, or 3 by 5 inch, small screen like an iPhone screen, as well as on a PC or a tablet. So personalized search is here to stay. So how do you pay attention to personalized search? I'm going to show you that. So for example, I'm going to pull up a report for one of our clients. Okay, so here is a report for one of our clients who has been with us for a few years. She, for example, gets 1,043 calls a month from her online marketing. She happens to be a dermatologist. Obviously, I'm not suggesting that you're going to get 1,043 calls, because, your business is different. I think for an accountant, 40 to 50 calls, maybe even 100 at some point would be a pretty decent target. Because, most of your relationships are long-term, so you don't need a lot of people. Pretty much once they're in, they would hopefully stay with you for years and years, as long as, you can take care of their needs. So as part of our detailed monthly report, we track things like how many hours we put in. I would suggest for most accountants, 30-35 hours would be perfect. But obviously, if you're in a bigger market, a competitive market, you might need more hours. We also track things like how many keywords are you ranking for. So in this particular example, this client is on the first page of 340 keywords. Why is this important? Because 95% of the people never go past page 1. So the more keywords you rank for, and especially if they're good keywords, the better off you are. Another key stat, 70% of the people click on one of the top 3 results. So how many keywords are you ranking for in the top 3 spots? In this example, 164 keywords. Now these translate into visitors or traffic to your website, to your Google Places page. This particular client gets 3,200 people coming to her outside of her website, and 2,900 people going to the website, which then turns into 1,043 phone calls in the month of May. Now, all of these happen because on a monthly basis, people are there working behind the scenes, and I'm going to show you what that is: writing articles, doing external SEO, growing your website. So one of the key metrics we look at is how many high-quality backlinks do you have. Many of our clients, before we take them over, have less than 100, but over time we help them get thousands and sometimes even more than 10,000 links. Remember, it's not just a numbers game, it's also a quality game, and I'll show you what that means, by talking about, the different things we do, and we suggest you do as well. Review profiles, we already touched on this. We talked about NAP, name, address, phone number consistency across review sites. So for this particular client, we are managing 16 such sites, 8 review sites and 8 regular sites like, other profile sites where there's information about the doctor. So all of that information has to be managed on a monthly basis. Why? Because it will help impact your rankings. So going back to the presentation, I talked about, okay, fine. Personalized search means people see different results for different keywords. So how do you know how well you are doing? Bingo, great question. There's a tool called Google Webmaster Tool and Google Analytics, especially the tool called Google Analytics, will tell you how well you are ranking for which keywords. So for example, this particular client is ranking for quite a few keywords, and we list those keywords. So you as an accountant or a business owner needs to know what those keywords are. Like I said, she's a dermatologist, so when you people type in dermatologist, Montclair, New Jersey, 170 people typed it in, her average position is #1. So go after not just 1 or 2 keywords, which is one of the mistakes I see many accountants making. Go after many, 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 many keywords, and again look at how popular those keywords are. Like 170 people a month is not bad. It's not a bad keyword. And then try to be near #1. Again, remember it's average position, meaning sometimes you could be #2 or #3 depending on the device, depending on the search history, depending on the location. But on average, this client is #1 for that particular keyword. And keep track of the hundreds of keywords you should be ranking for. I'm not sure how many you are, and then see how that's evolving, how that's improving. If you are ranking for a really popular keyword that 300 people are looking at #8 position, work on it, get it to #1. If you're on page 2, trust me, nobody is seeing you for that keyword because most people will not go to page 2 for any keyword. So, you need to get on page 1 first, and then once you're on page 1, try to get to the top position. So anyway, so we track all of this through Google Analytics, and we share it with our clients, and I suggest you who takes marketing seriously does the same thing as well. Let me go back to one of my earlier slides that I kind of skipped. What is local search? What is SEO? Local search is all about showing up locally when people have a need that you can fulfill. So it might be, like I said, all types of keywords, all types of things that people are looking for. Whatever they're typing in, you want to be the one that shows up near the top, page after page, phrase after phrase, search after search. SEO stands for, how do you do that? Search engine optimization. How do you do that without paying any ad money to Google or anybody else? So in other words, how do you show up organically, meaning near the top, without it being an ad? So the next question I kind of get asked is, okay, if I want to get the most out of internet marketing and I want to grow my business, what should I want? What should my goals be? And I'll tell you a couple of stories. There was a client of mine who started a business, in California, Newport Beach, really tough market. And within a span of 5 years, he went from 0 to $1 million+ business. And he became one of the top 1% in his profession. He's a very young guy, 33 years old. And his secret was really, really, really simple. And that's kind of what we do for most of our clients. Number one, he didn't waste his money on the old ways of marketing, what I call disrupt marketing, which is, TV ads and radio ads and banners. And the reason is, in a world where people do research, you cannot have enough money to buy every billboard, every radio, every TV, so they keep seeing you again and again. However, in that world where they do research, if you have a strong strategy, you can always keep showing up near the top. So he put all of his efforts into internet marketing, especially number one in showing up. The second thing he did is that people believe reviews. 9 out of 10 people believe reviews, and our stats show this. Like, for example, the same report will show that many people are typing in that particular doctor's name. 600 people a month are typing in the doctor's name. Why do you think they're doing that? They're doing that to make sure that they are reading the reviews for that particular doctor. If the reviews they read say that this doctor is not great, they're not going to do business. Same thing with you. They're going to type your business name or your name. If there are a lot of positive reviews, 9 out of 10 of those people who are using reviews to make their decision will make a favorable decision and decide to call your business. But if what they see is not positive, then it's going to hurt your business. So that's the second thing he did. He made sure that he had a comprehensive reputation management strategy. We, for example, have teams and we manage all these different profiles. We talked about NAP, making sure that your name, address, phone number is consistent across all these sites. We also monitor the reviews, so we see positive reviews, negative reviews on a weekly, monthly basis, set plans, and work with the staff to get happy clients to write positive reviews. Also, when there's a negative review, we deal with it. There's a lot of ways to do that. So reputation management is the second piece of the puzzle. And finally, I believe it's having a consistent brand and converting those people. So if people go to 3 different places and read 3 different types of things about you, they're going to get confused. You need to have consistent colors. You need to have a consistent story. You need to have consistent reviews. You need to make sure that everything is connecting and you're giving the reasons for them to fall in love with you. Whether it's they watch this awesome video where you quick 2-minute presentation explain to them a very complicated topic and they feel like you are the kind of person who can simplify things for them, or they read some amazing testimonial about you either on your website or on somebody else's website, or they watched a testimonial video. Whatever it is, we need to pay attention to what is it that's going to make the person who ended up learning about you through their research choosing you based on what they see online. So those are the 3 things, manage your reputation, make it easy for people to say yes and choose you, and most importantly, show up. Show up when people do research and they're typing the things that you can do for them. So anyways, track the metrics, see how many keywords you're ranking for, especially in the top 3 spots, and page 1, how many backlinks you have, how many visitors you're getting, all of those things. And what keywords you're ranking for, because you need to pay attention and see how popular those keywords are. We also talked about devices. So I'm going to take you to a very powerful tool that we use a lot. That's called Google Analytics. So here is one of our clients who gets 4,447 people in a 30-day period. So this is the graph. So it tells you, okay, on Tuesday, June 24th, it's 215 and so forth. Now, it tells you a lot of interesting things, average session duration, 1 minute and 47 seconds. Pages per session, 2.24. Page views, 11,000. Users, 4,447. You can even see things like devices that people are coming through. So in this particular example, Apple iPhone, 44%. Apple iPad, 25%. That's just the mobile traffic. Mobile as a whole is 44% of the total traffic. So 44% of the people are using an iPhone, using an iPad. Most accountants' website, when you view it through an iPhone, it's really, really, really hard to use because they haven't optimized it for small screen. So people have to scroll from left to right in that very small screen just to read a sentence. It's not going to work. You need to have a website that's optimized for a mobile device. Let me quickly touch on the kind of things that I think you need to make sure that your internet marketing team does, whether it's internal or external. Very first thing, number 1, we spend 200 hours building a custom design website. Why do we do that? Because we believe that fundamentally, if the website is not built perfectly right from the start, it's like the foundation. Everything else you do after that is not going to give you maximum results. So audit the old website, do the keyword research, do a custom design to extend your brand. A lot of people will say, I like that website, make something like that for me. The problem with that is you can't be somebody you're not. So trying to be like this other guy will confuse your consumers and your customers. It's better for you to be authentic. If you believe in customer service, your website should really highlight that. Whatever it is that you believe in, whatever it is that people love you for, that's what your website should be about. But at the same time, branding is about consistency. If your business cards are 2 colors and your office is something else, and your website is something else, it's just confusing. Be consistent. Think these things through. So we have experts. We have around 150 experts. So we believe in this idea of having people who specialize in things, and there are web designers and writers and all under one roof. And these are all full-time staff. So it's really, really, really important for you to make sure that you have a sophisticated team that has experts and they're doing things right. Another thing we talked about is having a responsive mobile site. Why is responsive mobile sites important? It's important because you need to optimize your site so it looks amazing on a small iPhone screen, as well as on an iPad, as well as on a PC. So it doesn't matter what screen the person is using, the site looks great. So on an iPhone, it looks like an app with buttons, so it's easy to navigate, so people don't have to scroll back and forth. On a big desktop, it takes advantage of the big screen and all the space that it has. So spend enough time in the first 2 to 3 months laying the foundation, right? Getting a perfect website that is capable of ranking, month after month. A lot of people will do template sites. A lot of people don't believe in original content, and Google hates that, and they punish you for that if you don't have original content. Now, these things are things we suggest you do on a monthly basis. So search engine optimization has a few parts to it, right? One is external SEO, which is what happens outside of your website to help you rank for more and more keywords. The second is adding new content and keeping your website updated. And new content has to be original, meaning not a single word, not a single sentence can be copied. So under external SEO, things have changed a lot. So you get punished for having bad links. So we check bad links on a monthly basis using Google Webmaster Tools. And then we go and remove those links or tell Google to ignore those links. We go after new types of links that Google loves. For example, social media bookmarking, external blogs. We talked about all these review sites and making sure name, address, phone number is consistent on those. And they're all linking back to your website. So these are things we put a lot of effort into. So out of the 150 people, 30 people focus on, what we call external SEO, and they put a lot of hours on a monthly basis to do personalized external SEO marketing for you, and that's really, really important. Whoever you hire, find out how many hours they're putting in, find out what they're doing, see if they're doing this on a monthly basis, because a lot of times what I see happen is most marketing companies set up a website and then they do nothing. And then clients look at their business and say the business never grows because they're not getting new clients. So if you had a good company, they have to be doing things on a monthly basis, and you need to ask them, how many hours did you put in? What did you do? What type of work have you done? So that's why we believe in this detailed report that tracks the hours, that tracks the kind of work we do. So you know what's going on, and then you see it in results. You see it in the increase in phone calls. You see it in the increase in traffic. You see it in the increase in rankings. I want to talk about a few other things. So it's in my report. One is called authorship tag. So let me just jump to that real quick. So how do you know you're ranking? How do you know you're showing up? Check your Google Analytics, or insist on a detailed monthly report that tracks how well you're doing as per Google Analytics. What keywords you're ranking for, what's your position, and how many people are typing each keyword. So authorship tag. Sometimes you may have noticed that pictures show up. Let me show you an example here. I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to type in Dr. Ron Shelton. He's somebody we work with. So notice one thing, right? He has 5 stars, 19 Google reviews, on right off of his web page and linked to Google Play, Google reviews. And on the right-hand side, Google will show the address, the phone number, and again show 5 stars. Real stuff, again 5 stars, 31 reviews. Health grades, 5 stars, 31 reviews. Yelp, 5 stars. So why is this important? We know for a fact that 600 plus people are typing this doctor's name on a monthly basis. When those 600 people are trying to check this doctor out, we want to make sure that what they see is very compelling, so it's very easy for them to say yes. So, there are techniques you can use to get happy clients to write positive reviews about you. Use accountants.md, use, Google Places, use these various sites and work on it, or have a team working on it behind the scenes. So over time, the number of reviews you have grow, and most importantly, the number of stars you have grows. It's really, really important. Let me show you another example, right? So accountant, Julie Herbert has 4.5 stars. Alberto Roman has 4.5 stars. But look at everybody else. Nothing, no stars. So who do you think people are going to call? Julie Herman and Alberto Roman, or everybody else? You know what? I have to say, 70 to 80% will call one of these two, just because those stars have become ingrained in people's brains when it comes to deciding who's good and who's bad. So authorship tag is really, really important. We talked about Google reviews. Rich snippets and structured data. So for example, going back to that, I'll show you another example. So if I type in, Botox New Orleans, for example, Dr. Mary Lupo is showing up. She's one of our clients whose business, grew 30% the first year and 25% the second year. And if you notice, she has 4.2 stars. Now, remember, I didn't even type in the doctor's name. I just typed in a service that I'm interested in. And all of a sudden, Google is showing me that doctor, and it's showing me how many stars they have. And it's really important that A, you show up, and B, you have those stars. Remember, on this page, she's showing up twice, right at the top, right below the ads, and then right at the top again on the maps portion of the Google search. So there's a 35% chance anybody who's clicking on an SEO result will click on her, because that's what studies show. The first person gets 35% of the clicks. And again, also on the map, she's number 1. So again, there's a 35% chance she's going to get the click. So going back to a couple of other things, review sites, we already talked about it, right? So, Yahoo Local, Google Places, Bing Local, those should be the big sites you focus on. But over time, you need to get the other sites also to write positive reviews about you. And keep changing your website, keep adding things to it in addition to original articles. So we have around 12 to 16 writers, 12 full-time and 4 part-time. Who work on our clients and write original articles. Use tools like Copyscape to make sure it's 100% original. And also keep improving your site, changing your site. Site shouldn't be something that you create and forget about. It has to be something that keeps evolving. And marketing is like a business. You have to have an ongoing business plan, a marketing plan. So having a monthly report, checking on goals and setting goals on a semi-annual basis, and then checking on them on a quarterly basis and adjusting them is really, really, really important. One of the things I touched on is call tracking. So I really believe in call tracking because I really think it helps in a bunch of ways. One, it tells you how all the marketing is working or not working for you. So have one call tracking number for your organic internet marketing. Have one, let's say, for a radio campaign you're running. Have different call tracking numbers so you know how many calls you're getting. Second, you can have also the ability to listen to those calls, because you won't be answering all the calls, your receptionist might. You could use it as a training tool. So listen to calls randomly once a month and then use it as a training tool. We, for example, analyze the calls for our clients and we give them insights. For example, you missed 20% of your calls, and most of your calls were missed during these hours. You know what? You may want to address that. Why is that? In today's world, most people, almost 95%, do not leave voicemails. If they call you during business hours and you don't answer the phone, they are on to the next guy on the list, on their Google search results. So you really need to make sure that when people call you, you answer the phone. Or if you don't, we have a way to send alerts so you can immediately call them back within a couple of minutes. So these are really, really important, both from a training and ongoing improvement standpoint, and also to see which marketing is working for you and which marketing is not. I really believe that call tracking can be worth its weight in gold. So another question I get asked is SEO right for me? I think it depends. I do believe SEO is right for accountants for a bunch of reasons. One is, you know, most business owners want to find somebody who has helped other business owners like them as their accountant. So for example, if you have doctor clients and I'm looking for an accountant who works with doctors, and I start doing some research and I keep seeing your name pop up again and again, and a lot of doctors have said amazing things about you online. You know what, I'm going to go with you because you're exactly what I'm looking to work with. But no point doing it if you don't see results. No point doing it if the phone is not ringing. No point doing it if you're not ranking for 10, 20, 50, 100, 200 keywords. No point doing it if you're not near the top of the page. So I really think if you're going to do it with a plan that clearly states, I'm going to dominate, I'm going to be near the top for all the key keywords that I'm after. I'm going to manage my reputation. I'm going to get to 4 to 5 stars. Because if any of these things are not done right, you won't get the results. So you need to really understand what are the priorities and then go after them. I'm going to work on videos and testimonials and so forth to really make it easy for people to say yes to me, because that person might be researching me at 3 in the morning and I'm sleeping, and they can watch my video, right? They can read my testimonial either on my site or on a third-party site like Google Reviews. So I really think if you have a firm plan and a commitment and to dominate internet marketing, I think you should go for it, and you should make sure that you achieve those goals, because saying that you do marketing without achieving goals is useless. Let me talk about SEO basics, and let me show you some examples. So I'm going to show you a different example because this way you get a feel for things. Oh, you know what? I forgot to show you something else. 1 second. By the way, there's a book that I wrote called 8 Steps Every Accountant Should Take to Dominate Their Market Online. It's on Kindle, and also you can get a printed copy. If you're interested, you can buy it or let us know and we'll send you a free copy, either digital or printed copy. And I really think it will take you maybe an hour or hour and a half to read, but I really think it will be a good read and give you the key points you need to focus on. So SEO basics. So I'm going to SEO basics are 3 things. We kind of touched on it, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. First is spend the time to get the site done right. Put in the hours. We recommend a site that takes 200 hours to build using original content and original design is the way to go. Second is get external SEO going, right? Which is all the links and all the other things that you need to do to increase the number of keywords you're ranking for and your position for those keywords. Third, have a strategy to add content on a monthly basis, original content. Have dedicated writers, because more than likely you won't get to it, at least on a consistent basis. And then keep your site, updated and improving. And under external SEO, there are a lot of pieces. Social media bookmarking. We talked about all the review sites and NAP, name, address, phone consistency. So these are some of the basics of what you need to pay attention to. A site that is set up properly, we talked about it. Original content, we talked about it. External SEO, we talked about it, right? And work on internet marketing on a weekly basis, and I would suggest investing at least 35 hours a month. Have a plan, have goals. This is another mistake I think people make. They think marketing is just saying a check mark. I do marketing and then nothing happens on a weekly, monthly basis, and then obviously no results show up. If you want your business to grow and if you want your new client numbers to grow, you need to monitor it. You need to set goals. You need to set targets. You need to have specific things you want to accomplish. And that's what we do. So we come up with a 6-month plan for our clients, and then we review it with them every 3 months. So I really think that's something that you need to engage with and you need to participate in. Give it sufficient time. I say 6 to 12 months to see significant results. One of the things I'm proud of is 90% of our clients stay with us every year. What that means is after the first year, they can walk away anytime, but 90% continue with us every single year. In the digital marketing space, this is unheard of. Most companies, the best ones that I have seen outside, usually retain their clients for an average of 18 months. So retaining 90% of your clients, year after year after year, for many, many, many years, and hopefully for the entire life of their business, comes down to results, right? So what we focus on is how does what we do improve the value of the business, improve the number of new clients. So by doing things like call tracking, by doing things like tracking all these numbers and having plans, you can do that. So I really believe you need to, just like your clients have an accounting partner who they trust and who they believe in and have lifelong relationships with. You need somebody who you trust and who you believe in and who really does the work on a weekly, monthly basis, so you don't have to. And then you have to have that conversation with them, on a quarterly basis to see how well things are going, have things improved, the number of calls you're getting, the number of keywords you're ranking for, how many people are coming to your site, etc., etc. I mean, you are an accountant, so obviously you understand metrics. One of the things we are offering at this time is a free digital marketing strategy review. So if you want us to kind of develop a custom marketing strategy and a plan for you, we can do that. It's a $500 price tag, but anybody who watched this video, who attended this webinar, we will do it at no cost. Just let us know, and we will review it and tell you where you stand today, where do your customers, your competition stand today, and what you should do and what can be done, and how long it's going to take. So anyway, so it'll be a detailed strategy and a meeting to discuss the strategy. So let me open it up for questions. I know we have around 18 more minutes. Tilini, back over to you.
Thank you, Naren. And we will continue our discussion segment. Let me give you the questions that we have received today for you. Let's go with the first question. I heard Google started punishing people for bad links. Can you tell me more about it?
That's a great question, because one of the things that people struggle with is maintaining their position with Google and their rankings with Google, and a lot of people get punished from time to time because they don't do what Google wants them to do. And one of the ways you can get punished is by having links from what Google considers bad neighborhoods. So for example, there are a lot of sites where people can pay and get a link. If you have a link from that site, even by accident, you're going to get punished. So that's just one reason why Google would consider a link bad. There are lots of other reasons. So there are tools that Google provides that will tell you which bad links you have. So you as a company has to pay attention to this on a weekly, monthly basis and remove bad links. Remember, just like good links will help you, bad links will hurt you. So you need to make sure that you are proactively getting rid of those bad links. And it's an update that Google made recently in the last 12 to 18 months, and I've seen so many sites affected. So the only way to make sure you don't is to monitor it and get rid of bad links.
Okay, let's move on to the second question that we have received this afternoon rather. What is average search rank? I see this in my Google Analytics. Can you explain further?
Absolutely. So I was showing you the monthly report that says how many times a particular keyword is searched and what's the average position. Now, if you have access to your Google Analytics account, you will see the exact same information. So if I go to this particular report and I go and click on acquisitions and search engine optimization, and I click on queries, I'll see the different keywords that this particular client, like dermatologist New Orleans, 900 people typed it in, and the average position is number 1. See, they are using the word average position. Why are they using the word average positions? So here it explains the average ranking of your website URLs for the query or queries. For example, if your site's URL appears at position 3 for one query and position 7 for another query, the average position would be 5. 3 plus 7 divided by 2. So they look at all these 900 people. Where did they see this particular doctor? Did they see in the number 1 position or did they see in the number 5 position? In this particular example, these 900 people saw this particular doctor at the number 1 position on average. So it's really important for you to track what's your average position for organic search results. So this is the client whose business went up, significantly in the first, several years, and she has been with us for more than 5 years now. Anyways, next question, please.
Yes. How important are reviews? Do they influence purchase decisions?
Absolutely. They've done studies after studies, and again, looking at the search itself, I know reviews are important because, I see 500, 600 people typing the client's name just to see what other people think about the client. So obviously, these people are not wasting their time. They want to know what others think. So I really think reviews are extremely important. I know it based on studies, and I know it by looking at the data of our clients. So if you want to grow your business, you need to focus on reputation management and building your reputation online.
We'll move on to the next question. I heard people don't leave voicemails or fill contact forms these days. Is this true? What do you notice?
Absolutely, that is correct. I mean, when the web first started, maybe 7-8 years ago, most people didn't have an iPhone in their pocket because iPhone didn't exist, or a smartphone for that matter. So most people were comfortable from using the internet from their office, and in their lunch break, they don't want anybody else to hear that they're on the phone, so they would literally fill out a form. The problem with the form is they have to wait for somebody to call them back, and usually when they're calling back, they're in the middle of a meeting, and it's a hassle, right? So as people, as time went along, and the mobile devices were invented and so forth, what I'm noticing is very few people fill out online forms. Most people do all the research, and then once they feel like this person is great, at that moment itself, as long as it's working hours, they want to just press that phone number, and automatically the phone would dial it for them. So I really think more and more people call once they have decided you are the person for them. So when they're making that call and they're very excited, it's really important you answer the phone. And I notice many people don't, and they don't even know that they don't, because they don't know how many calls are being answered, and not because they don't track it. Because with an automated call tracking system, you can track all that. So the other thing I'm noticing is that 95% of the people whose phones are not answered during working hours do not leave voicemails. Why? They're excited for that moment, and after that moment they're not, and they don't have the patience to leave a voicemail and wait for somebody to call them back. So it's really important you answer your phone during office hours, and you know how many calls are getting missed.
Okay, we'll move on to the next question. I'm interested in local searches in every state in the United States, if this is possible. We are not national. My CPA firm wants to complete in the tax software arena.
Come again? Can you repeat that question, please?
Yes, I am interested in local searches in every state in the United States, if this is possible. We are not national. My CPA firm wants to compete in the tax software arena.
That's a great question. I guess if you are trying to rank for a keyword like accountant in every city, it's not going to happen because you can do it, but you need massive budgets. Because remember, there's going to be enough accountants in each city, so beating every single one in every city, either you need to have separate websites and separate, or subdomains to go after those areas. But on the other hand, if you're only targeting a particular type of firm, like, so for example, you want to be the CPA for tech startups, for example. Now,
for tax software, sorry. It's for tax software. Tax software.
Oh, tax software. Oh, I see. So yeah, so I think it's going to be really hard because Tax software is such a competitive keyword, where you're competing against, billion-dollar companies from, Intuit to all kinds of players, and they have, websites with millions of pages. So to compete with them and be number one organically in every city, I think unless you have very, very deep pockets and a really long-term view, I really think it's a bad battle to get into. That's just my honest opinion.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. I have 2 Google profiles. What can I do about it?
This is really important. Like, one of the things that we noticed working with clients is that Google is notorious, so are all the other review sites, in creating duplicate listings, meaning a second profile, a third profile. Why do they do that?
I'm sorry, Naren, we can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you start from the beginning for that question, please?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So the question was, I have 2 Google profiles.
Yes. 2 Google profiles. What can I do about it?
Absolutely. So I was saying that Google is notorious in creating duplicate listings. So are the other review sites. And the reason is, in the old days, these profiles were created manually by a person. So before the old Yellow Pages created a profile for you, they would call you and they'll verify all the information. So there's no way that a duplicate profile could get created, because that person would make sure that it doesn't happen. Now these profiles are created automatically by computers. So computers are not smart like human beings. They cannot, reason things. So sometimes, even if a spelling is spelled slightly differently, maybe there's an extra space, or maybe there is, one letter that's different, they might think it's a different business or a different person, and they might create a second profile for you. So it does happen. So there's two things I would say. One is, you need to make sure you clean up all your profiles so the information is consistent, so the new profiles don't get created based on wrong, false information and create duplicate listing like issues. Second, when it does happen, you have to claim it. So the way to do that is to contact Google, and there are ways to do that, and have them either send in a postcard with a PIN or make a phone call with a PIN. And once that PIN is collected, then claim that profile, and then either merge the 2 profiles or delete the bad one. There are a lot of technical steps you have to go through, so those are things that we do for our clients on a monthly basis to make sure that they don't have these types of issues. Because if you have 2 profiles, your reviews are going to get split, your consumers are going to get confused, and you're not going to get as much traffic from Google because Google itself is confused. So it's better to always keep things clean. So you need to monitor these kind of issues on a monthly basis and fix them when they show up.
Fine, we'll move on to the next question. Yelp hides my positive reviews. What do I do about it?
No, that's a great question. I get this all the time, and Yelp's position is, there are people called active Yelpers, and they will only show reviews of active Yelpers. But I've heard clients complain about, many of their good reviews somehow gets hidden, and all the bad reviews somehow get shown. So it is what it is, and I think people even took Yelp to court and they lost. And the reason is, I guess, the government sided with Yelp because it has the ability, under freedom of speech and so forth, to run their algorithms any way they choose. As long as it's consistent. So I don't want to get into the battle of whether Yelp is doing it on purpose or whether Yelp is right or wrong. I really think there's a couple of points I would like to make. One is, when people Google your name or your business name, make sure many sites are showing up with 4 to 5 stars next to your name or your business name. This way, people quickly realize that most people think very highly of you, and that's really the point, right? We want to make sure that when people type in your name, they realize that most people think very highly of you. However, if you do have bad Yelp reviews, I do suggest 2 things. One, if it's a false review, you need to confront it, and Yelp provides you ways of doing that. But more importantly, actively seek out those active helpers and get them to write positive reviews. And there are lots of techniques and methods of doing it, but that's just in a nutshell, what I would do. But most importantly, I would like to make sure that you have a lot of positive reviews, like I showed you, the example, right? One client has 4 or 5 5-star reviews, and that's what you want.
Okay, thank you, Naren, and thank you very much for coming in today and doing this EOA with us. But very sadly, we have to say goodbye to you. Anything else that you would like to add to our viewers, Naren?
Yes, I forgot to mention the upcoming presentations. The next one is going to be on branding. I think it's an excellent presentation because it's based on a book I wrote about branding, and a lot of people love it, and I've been invited to speak about it. Really, my take on branding is that it's not complicated. People make it complicated, and they think it's voodoo magic. It's not. Branding to me is about authenticity. Why do people love you? Why do you do what you do? Communicating that, living that, discovering that, that's really what branding is. So I'm going to give you best practices, ideas, strategies on how you can do that in the next presentation. Then the following one after that talks about reputation management and social media in detail. Today we talked about the importance of reputation management and the importance of working on your reputation. In the other presentation, we'll talk about specific strategies that you can employ to build up your reputation. Also, we'll talk about the role of social media, and I define social media as anything from Facebook, Twitter, all the way to newsletters, text messages, various ways you keep in touch with your customers. So we're going to share a lot of best practices, a lot of ideas around that in that presentation. And the last one is going to talk about 3 things that are dear and near to my heart. One is automated marketing, content marketing, and analytics. Analytics, I believe, is so crucial. You don't have to, unlike the old days, walk in the dark. Like, you know exactly what's going on, even at a user by user level. You know what they did, you know what pages they looked at, you know how long they spent, what intrigued them, what interested them. So you can really use that to your advantage to see how well your marketing is going and where to focus and where not to focus. Because you might be finding a lot of things you're doing is not helping you. So analytics will tell you that. Even call tracking is part of that. So you can really listen to calls and figure out how well this marketing is going for you, or have another company like ours do the analysis for you. Automated marketing is the idea that you can have 10,000 people in your database and still personalize your marketing based on their needs, their background, and so forth. So if you have a lot of doctors, they get things that doctors are interested in. If you have somebody who's very concerned about saving money on taxes, then he or she gets more of that type of information. So there are tools and techniques you can use to really deal with many people without really talking to each one of them, month after month. And automated marketing is great both to build relationship with existing clients as well as with new clients. Content marketing is the idea that content is at the center of marketing, meaning a certain press release, a certain story, a certain event that happens in the news can be used in so many ways through social media, through search engine optimization, through automated marketing to grow your business. So I really believe the next 3 presentations are very, very valuable if you are serious about growing your business with internet marketing, and I look forward to seeing you there. And once again, if any of you are interested in that special offer of having us do your digital marketing strategy review, let us know. And I strongly also encourage you to get your reviews on accountants.md, so you have a lot of good reviews on the internet. Thank you very much, and thank you, Tilini, and thank you everybody for your time.
Yes, thank you, Naren, and thank you all for joining in on the EOA with us. We will be sending this video so you can share it with your friends. And we will also keep you informed of the next webinar within a few weeks. And as Naren said, the topic for the next webinar is branding, discovering communication, and living your brand. Thank you very much, and have a very good day. And goodbye to all.
Thank you, and bye for now.